after learning how to add piers and pilasters in our project. So we are still on the foundation topic. So this time I'm going to teach you a quick video on how to add isolated foundation or isolated footings. Okay, so let's get started. So I'm going to open the adding isolated footings exercise here. Again, we are still working on the same project. So I'm going to quickly show you how to create an isolated footings. All right. Okay, now the first thing that we are going to do, just like last time, we will be adding how we are going to open the top of footing level. So I'm going to open this top of footing, just double click that. And before I start adding isolated footings, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly show you how to view elements that was hidden. Okay, like for example, I want to hide the grids. Okay, so I want to hide the grids, so I can select one grid, right click, and then after that, there's an option here, hide in view. So I'm not going to select elements because if I select elements, it will only hide the selected element. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select hide category. There you go. Now, let's say, for example, you want to show back again your grids. So if you want to show back again your grids, you can go check your visibility graphic overrides here. You can select edit. And then after that, instead of going to the model categories, you need to go to the annotation because grids is part of annotation categories. So you need to go here on letter G, and then you will see here that the grids is unchecked. All right. So aside from checking the grids here to turn it on, okay. So what I can do is another way aside from using the visibility graphic overrides. So what I can do is I can go to my view control bar. So again, this area here is called view control bar. So I'm going to select this bulb here. So it says reveal hidden elements. So I'm going to select reveal hidden elements. So I just click that one, and then quickly you will now be going to the reveal hidden elements box. Okay, so as you can see, there's a color, what's this, reddish color box here, implying that you are on a hidden, reveal hidden elements window. So as you can see, all the elements that having this color here, the reddish color, those are the elements that is hidden in your current view. Okay, so as you can see, aside from the grid, so some of the points here as well is hidden, right? The analytical nodes are also hidden in this view, but that is not what we are after. We are after in our grid. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to select the grid, okay, and then there's an option here, unhide category, or you can also type VU, okay? So I just need to select this, there you go, and then after that, I just need to select toggle reveal hidden elements mode. So once I click that, so as you can see, it's now shown here. So let me repeat. So let's say I'm going to hide all the structural columns. I click one, right click, and then hide in view category. There you go. So it's now hidden. Now if I want to show that back again, so aside from going to the visibility graphic overrides, so I just need to select the bulb here, reveal hidden elements, and then after that I just click one of the structural column that is hidden, and then there's an option here, and hide category. So I just need to click that one, and toggle reveal hidden elements mode. So just click that. There you go. Okay, so that's how you use this reveal hidden elements. All right, so let us now go into our exercise. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select here the structure tab. And then after that, from the foundation panel, so there's an option, there's a tool here that is called the structural foundation isolated. So it adds footings or pile tops to the building model. So I'm going to select this one, and then after that, as you can see, we only have here two types of footing rectangular family. So I'm just going to select the default one here, but I'm going to create a new one. So I'm going to select edit type here. You know this already. I select here duplicate. So let's say, for example, what I want is 3 feet by 3 feet and 5 inches by 3 feet and 5 inches by, let's say, 12 inches, like that. Okay, so this is the footing size that I want. So I'm going to select here OK. All right, now for the thickness here, since I put here 12 inches for the thickness, I can just type here 1. So 1 stands for 1 foot. So I'm going to click now here. So automatically it will become 1 foot and 0 inches. So for the width, of course, this one is 3 space 5. And then I click the length here. Again, you will notice automatically Revit will add here the feet symbol and then the inches symbol. So for this one, I'm going to type 3 space 5. All right? Okay, so after creating this type, so I'm now going to select here OK. Okay, so now the next thing that I'm going to do is there is an option here, multiple panels. So there's an option here, add columns. Okay, so we know already how to use our add grids, right? So what will happen is it will place your rectangular footing on the grids. But this time around, since we already put all the columns in our project, so let us try to use this option, add columns or add structural columns. So it creates footings at the bases of selected structural column. Okay, so I'm going to select this one. All right. Okay, and then I'm going to use window selection. So you will notice it will select all the columns. There you go. As you can see, it's now added, but we are not yet finished because you need to select finish here. Okay, so you just need to select finish. And there you go. All right, so let us now select here modify to terminate our tool. Okay, so basically that's how you add your footing. So if I go to the 3D view, and then let's have a look around. There you go. Okay, so it's not that difficult. Okay, oops. So maybe I'll just need to change this to shaded color or consistent color so that there's no shadow so that you can see it. Okay, so those are our isolated footings. Okay, there you have it. So hopefully you learned something from this video, guys. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can put it on the comment section below, and I'll get back to you guys as soon as I can. So thank you for watching. Have a nice day. Our last topic, we have learned how to add isolated footings. So this time around, I'm going to teach you how to create a concrete masonry unit elevator shaft. Okay, so that is what we are going to do. So we're going to create a CMU or concrete masonry unit elevator shaft in our building. Okay, so let's get started. So I'm going to open out the project. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is I'm going to open the elevation. Okay, so because the elevator shaft that I'm going to create will going to be reached until the penthouse level of our project. So for me to do that, so I need to create first the level, right? So let's go to the south elevation or any elevation here. It can be east, north, south, or west. Okay, so in my case, I'll just open the south elevation. Okay, and then what we are going to do here is we're going to create level. So let's select the level tool, click that. And then let's use the peak lines option. So let's click that one. Make plan view so that when we create our penthouse level, automatically it will create the plan view here on our project browser. Now, after I select the peak lines, make plan view, let's specify the offset distance. So let's say the offset distance is 10 feet. So I'll just type 10, enter. So let's say 10 feet. So I want that to be here. Okay, so make sure the level that you will be creating is above, just like mine. Do not move your pointer a little bit below because the level that you will be creating will be created below. Okay, so you need to hover your pointer up to the roof level and then click. There you go. And then let's select here modify. And then after that, let's click the level that we created and then let's modify this one. So let's check the bubble and then let's change the name of the level here. So let's click that. Let's call it penthouse. Enter. Okay. So by the way, there's the level that we just created after we create, or there's the floor plan that we created after we create our level here. Okay. So after creating the penthouse, so what we are going to do next is let's go to level 1. Okay. Now for the elevator shaft, so this is where I'm going to create it. Okay. So in this area. Now for me to be able to see it nicely, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the visibility graphic overrides. I can type VG or I can just select your edit. So I click that one, and then after that, I go to the Revit links. So what I want to do is to turn off the visibility of the architectural model. So I just uncheck that one, and then I select your OK. There you go. So it's now hidden. So same in the 3D view. So I'm going to open the 3D view. Okay, so I'm going to hide the visibility graphic overrides of the link. So I'll just uncheck that. Okay, okay, because remember the visibility graphic override, it will only affect your current view. It will not affect the other view. So if you hide the link in this view, that link is still visible in other level, okay, or in other view. Now going back to my level 1, so I'm going to zoom in this area here. Okay, so now the next thing that we are going to do is, so we are going to create our wall. Okay, so we're going to create our wall. So let's go to the structure. Let's go to the wall. Let's use the structural wall. Okay, and then from the type selector, I'm going to select generic 8 inches masonry wall. Okay, so I'm going to select this one. And then again, for our options bar here, I'm going to specify the location line. So for the location line, I'm going to make sure that it is finish face exterior. So I'm going to select that finish face exterior. And then for the offset distance, okay, so I'm going to make it 4 feet. So I select that, change it to 4. So you just type 4 and then enter. So that's 4 feet. And then for the depth, instead of depth, I'm going to make it height. Okay, so because if you are going to select depth here, so meaning to say on your current level, which is level 1, it will go down to top of level or top of footing level. Okay, so it will go down. So from level 1 to top of footing level. But since I want my wall to be until the penthouse, so I'm just going to change that to height. And then just close this one. And then for the height here, let's change that to penthouse. So when you say height, so meaning to say you will be starting on level 1, going up to the penthouse. If you select here depth, so meaning you are going to start on your current level, going down. Okay, so if it is height, going up. If it is depth, it's going down. Okay, so in my case, from level 1 up to the penthouse. So that is what I'm going to do. All right. Now the next thing that we are going to do now here is that's the offset. So let us now pick the corner here. That one. Okay, so as you can see, the offset of 4 feet was created below. So for me to be able to place that above, I'm just going to press the space bar once. Okay, remember every time you press the space bar, it flips the side. Okay, so it flips the location. So that's the thing. So I'm going to pick here. There you go. So I'm going to pick one here. Then I'm going to pick one here. And then I'm going to pick one here. There you go. Okay, and then I select your modify. Okay, so if I'm going to select this wall, so you will now see here the temporary dimension. So you call this temporary dimension. So if you click that, you see there's a temporary dimension. You can actually change the justification of your temporary dimension, because as you can see right now, if you click an element, the temporary dimension, it snaps at the center line of the element, right? So if I select this one, so as you can see, it starts at the center line. You can actually change that if you go to the Manage tab. Okay, so if you go to Manage tab, this one, and then you go to Additional Settings, and then you see there's a temporary dimensions. So you just click the temporary dimensions, and then you can specify from here. So let's say for the temporary, I'm going to change that to faces. Okay, so you just need to select the faces. Okay, let me just click the faces, and then I want the doors and windows. I want my temporary dimension to snap at the opening. Okay, right? So I'm now going to select your OK. So the temporary dimension measure from the faces, and then the doors and windows measure from the openings. Okay, so I select your OK. Right. So if I'm going to select now again the wall, so as you can see, your temporary dimension here now is snaps at the face of your wall. You see that one? So if I select this, it's now snapping at the face of the wall, your temporary dimension. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to change it. So let's say, oh, I do not want this 14 feet and 11 inches. I just want to make this, let's say, 15 feet. So I can just click that, change that to 15, 15, enter. Okay, so it's now 15. So I'm going to select this one. All right, sorry, this one. Okay, so it's 11 feet and 1/4 inch. So I do not want to have a 1/4 inch. So I'm just going to make it 11, enter. There you go. So that the dimension of my wall here is 15 by 11. Okay, so that it's kind of symmetrical. Now the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm now going to add a foundation underneath, okay, of our structural wall. So to do that, I'm going to select again the structure tab, and then let's select foundation wall. Okay, so the structural wall. So let's select this one. Okay, so click the drop down arrow. Let's look for the foundation 12 inches concrete. Okay, so we're going to use this type. We're going to duplicate that to create a new one. So let's select this. Okay, so let's say I want to duplicate this because right now I only have 12 inches and 1 foot 6 inches, right? So let's say I want to duplicate 8 inches. So I'm going to duplicate this, change this to 8, remove the 2. So that's what I want. and then I'm going to select OK, and then I select edit. Let's change the thickness. So we want 8 inches, and then OK. There you go. So it's now 8 inches. Okay, so I'm going to select OK now. Now for the depth, okay, so automatically if you select a structural wall of wall foundation, it is already set to depth. So that's the setup, or that's the setting of our basic wall foundation. So you cannot change this to height because you are creating a basic wall foundation. So what happens is it will start from your current level and it will go down. Okay, right now I'm going to make it. All right, I think top of footing will be good. Top of footing, and then for the location line, I'm going to make sure that it's a wall center line, and then we are going to use the peak lines option here. Okay, and then I'm going to hover my pointer to the center line, just like that, and then press tab. It will highlight the whole connection or chain of walls, and then just click. There you go. So it's now placed. So I'm going to select here modify. So we can't see that in this view, but if I'm going to change my view back to 3D, there you go. So you will now see our wall here. So there's our foundation wall, and then this is now our structural wall. Okay, all the way to the penthouse level. Now the next thing that we are going to do is we're now going to create a footing. Okay, so we're going to add a footing or slab in our model. Okay, so how to create our slab? So I'm going to open the top of footing here, the floor plan top of footing, because we're going to create here a foundation slab. Okay, so to do that from the structure, I'm going to select the foundation slab. Okay, and then let's look for, okay, so let's use the 12 inches foundation slab. So I'm going to select this. Okay, and then after that, what else? All right, so we will be using peak lines. Okay, the peak lines tool, and then for the offset, let's make it 6 inches. Okay, so 6 inches. Okay, and then after that, how about I'm going to pick here, I pick here, pick. Okay, there you go. All right. Now the next thing that we are going to do is I'm going to create here a for the sump pit. Okay, so I'm going to add an opening here. Okay, so I'm going to add an opening. So what I'm going to do is let's create peak lines here using the peak lines option, and then let us specify here the distance. Okay, so that's the distance. So we are going to make it, let's say 12 inches. Okay, and then let's use the peak lines. Let's create one here, 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 then this one, and then modify. And then we need to create an opening here. So we need to close this. So make sure the opening here is just a square. So we will be using trim extend to corner to clean it up. So I'm going to select that. So I click the two sides that you want to remain. Okay, so you select that, then select this one, and then select this one. All right. Okay, so there's now our opening. That's, for example, for our sump pit. Again, if you want, you can still select that, and then you can modify that. Okay, so you can change that. So instead of 1 foot, so you can modify that. So let's say you want that 2 feet. So you just click, type 2, enter. Okay. Oh, wait, I'm going to undo. So I select this one, select this, 2, enter, and then I select this one, 2, enter. There you go. Okay, and then after that, don't forget to select finish. So there's an opening. Let's say that is for our sump pit. So check, and there you have it. Okay, so in my 3D view, this is now how it looks like. There you go. So I can click this, hold the shift, and then hold the orbit, the middle scroller of your mouse so that you can orbit. So there you go. So there's the opening for the sump pit, for example. Okay, so basically this is how you create your concrete masonry unit elevator shaft. So if you want to go back or show again your architectural model, let's just go to the visibility graphic override and then just select. Okay, there you go. Okay. All right, so hopefully you learned something from this video, guys. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can put it on the comment section below, and I'll get back to you guys as soon as I can. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day. In our discussion about foundation. So last topic, we learned how to create a concrete masonry unit elevator shaft. So this time around, I'm going to teach you how to create an opening shaft. Okay, shaft opening. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new project. So let me just quickly create a project here using a structural template. So I just select OK. All right, and then after that, I'll just go to the south elevation. I'll just create level. So you know already how to create level. So I'm going to make this quick. Okay, so I'm going to create, let's say, 4 levels. Okay, so I don't need the analytical model. All right, so what I'm going to do here is, going back to level 1, I'm going to go ahead and create here a structural floor. Structural floor, rectangular one. So I'm just going to give you an idea what is this shaft opening does. So I'm going to create this floor, and then I select check. Okay, now in the south elevation, so I now have a floor here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that, copy. So make sure that this one is multiple, constrain. So I'm going to pick the level, so pick. Okay, so I'm going to copy that, copy, copy. All right, so what I want to do is I want to create an opening on my floors here. Okay, so let me just change the visual styles to shade it. Okay, so I want to create here an opening. So I want to use a shaft opening. All right, so to do that, going back to my level 1, so what I'm going to do is from the opening panel, so there is tools here that you can use to create an opening by face, by shaft, by wall opening, by vertical opening, and then dormer opening. Okay, so what we are going to use here is shaft opening. It creates a vertical opening that spans multiple levels, cutting through intervening roofs, floors, and ceilings. Okay, so we typically sketch the shaft on a host element such as floor, and then you can move the shaft. So as you can see there on the image, so that is the shaft opening. All right, so I'm going to select the shaft here. So click that, and then from the model, create shaft opening sketch contextual tab. So you have two option here. So you need to create the boundary, and then you also need to create the symbolic line if you want. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly create a rectangle here. So that's the shaft opening that I want, for example. All right, so let's say this is going to be 2000 as well. There you go. And then I want to put here a symbolic line. Okay, so that symbolic line symbols the opening. So I'm going to select this. And then using the line tool, I'm going to create a symbolic line here. Just a line, okay, that symbolizes my opening. All right, so on my properties here, for the property of my shaft opening, so the base constraint here is level 1. And I do not want to have a base offset here. So I'm going to make that 0 because I do not want my level 1 to have an opening. So let's say I only want the opening from levels 2 until level 4. So that's why on the top constraint here, so I'm going to change this up to level 4. There you go. Anyway, you can still change that later on. So once you create the shaft opening. All right, so I'm now going to select here finish edit mode. So let's select that one, and there you have it. So there's your shaft opening. I think it would be better to create a line here, square line. Okay, so I'm going to select again the shaft opening, and then I'll select sketch here, edit sketch to go back to the shaft opening editor. So I'm going to select symbolic line, and then I'll be using rectangle here to create the boundary for my symbolic line. There you go. And then let's finish. Oops, that's it. So there is a line, overlapping line. Okay, oh, I think it's because of the, okay, so we don't need this. I think we have no other way to, okay, so I'll just create a line, peak line here. I'm going to offset that by 1. Okay, just to have a thickness. Oh, how about 10? 10. Okay, so how about 100? All right, so 100. So that's, oh, sorry. So it should be symbolic line, not boundary line. Okay, so let's delete that. So symbolic line, peak lines. Okay, so how about 50 for the offset? Okay, let's try out this one. Okay. Okay, so how about I'm going to stretch this one. So let's try out if this one will work out. Okay, so let's click that, click, click. All right, so let's finish it. Let's see. All right, there you go. So that's the symbol of my shaft opening. So if I'm going to open here the 3D view, so you will now see there's an opening, right? And if I'm going to hover my pointer to that area, so I will be able to select that shaft opening. Wherein I can control here. Okay, I can specify base offset, top offset, so I can specify that. Or I can just simply select the shaft opening and then I can control it. So let's say I want to create an opening here on level 1, so I'll just click that one, move down, just like that. Okay, so I can click that. All right, so no other elements that will be able to pass through this shaft opening. They will be cut off. Okay, so that is what will gonna happen. All right, so there's our opening now. All right, so what we are going to do, let's try to apply this to the building that we are working on. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'll just close this one without saving. Okay, so I'm going to open the creating shaft opening for our building. Okay, which is this one. So we're going to create here a shaft opening. So what I'm going to do is let me just unload first the architectural model here. So instead of turning off the visibility graphic overrides for the link, so let's try to unload it. So let's unload the link. So you just right click that, and then there's an option here, unload. So that, oh, just select check always unload the link, and then select OK. So that it will not only unload in the 3D view, but in the whole project. So your link model is now unload. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open my level 1 here. So there's my level 1. So I'm going to create here my shaft opening. Okay, so to do that, so I'll go to the opening panel. So there's the shaft opening. So let's click that one out. So let's create a rectangle for the shaft opening. Just click that rectangle. So I'm going to create a shaft opening that will start to that corner up to this corner. Okay, and then after that, let's create a symbolic line. So I click that. So just a simple X mark. Right, so that's the symbolic line for the shaft opening. There you go. And then again, we can specify the setting here of our shaft opening. So we can, okay, I'll just remove the base offset. I'll just make it 0. And then for the top constraint, I want to make it until the about penthouse level. So I select that. There you go. Again, it's up to you if you want to modify the base constraint, base offset, top constraint, and top offset. All right. So unconnected height, you'll be able to specify the height here if you change the top constraint to unconnected. Okay, so there's the unconnected. If you select that, so you can specify here the height that you want. Okay, but what I want is, I want to specify the level. So I select the penthouse, so level 1 and 2 penthouse. Okay, so there you go. So I'm now going to select your finish edit mode. So just click that, and there you go. There you have it. So we just created now our opening. So if I go to the 3D view, let's check it out. Okay, so if I hover my pointer here, I should be able to select the shaft opening. Oops, where's my shaft opening? There you go. There's the shaft opening. See? Shaft opening. Or if you're having a difficulty selecting your shaft opening, one technique that I can teach you is that you can use like selection like this, crossing selection like that, from right to left. And then you can use the filter. So there's a filter here. So just click that one, and then you will be able to see here the category that you have selected, including the shaft opening. So I'm going to select check none, and then just select the shaft openings, and then select OK. There you go. So you just selected the shaft opening. All right. So if you want to load back again the architectural model, so what you can do is just right click, and then reload from, then select the architectural model, double click, and then it will now be loaded. Okay. Right. Okay. So there you go. So we now have an opening here on our floor. Okay. So basically that's how you create your shaft opening. It's very simple. The tool is here on the opening panel. So there's the shaft opening. So hopefully you learned something from this video, guys. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can put it on the comment section below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day. discussion about Revit Structure 2021. Okay, so we are still on the foundations topic. So this time around, I'm going to teach you how to edit a profile of our structural wall for us to be able to create step footings. Okay, so that is what we are going to do. So let's get started. So I'm going to open now the exercise. Okay, and then after that, the step footings that I'm going to do will be on the side of the west elevation. So that is where I am going to modify the structural wall so we can create our step footings. Okay, so I'm going to open my west elevation. So this side here, so this is the west. So you can also see it here on your view cube. So there's the west, right? So that side is west, so I'm gonna open the west here. So just double click. Okay, now for you to modify the profile of your wall, all you have to do is select your wall. Okay, and then you just need to select your edit profile. So this is the tool that you can use to reshape your wall. Okay, you need to edit the profile. So select edit profile after selecting the wall. Okay, and then you will notice there's a magenta color, so meaning to say you are on the edit profile environment. Okay, so you can reshape here the wall. So what I'm gonna do is using the peak lines option here, so I'm going to select that, and then I'm going to specify the offset distance. So I'm going to type here 2 for 2 feet. Okay, or let's say for example I'm gonna make it 3 feet. Alright, so 3 feet. Okay, then after that, I'm going to offset this line here below, just like that. So I'm going to pick. So there's the 3 feet. Okay, and then after that, I'm going to offset again with the distance of 4 feet. Let's say, for example, and then I'm going to hover my pointer. How about? Okay, so how about here? So I'm going to pick. How about here? Okay, so I'll just offset here. So I'm going to pick this. There you go. So that's the offset of 4 feet. And then select modify to terminate the tool. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect this line here and then this line here. So for me to be able to do that, I'm going to use the trim extend to corner. Okay, so I click this one and then I'm going to click the side that you want to remain, which is this one, and then the other side that you want to connect, and then 2. There you go. And then I want to delete this line here, so I'm going to trim, selecting this side and then this side here. There you go. Okay, so let me try to do that again. So I'm going to select the peak lines option. Again, I'm going to type here the offset distance of 3, and then I'm going to offset this down. Okay, and then I'm going to select modify. Now I'm going to offset this line to the right again by a distance of 4 feet. So I select peak lines, offset 4, enter. Okay, and then let me click this one. There you go. And then again, I'm going to use the the trim extend to corner. So I'm going to select this line here, and then select this one, and then I select this line here, and then select this one. Okay, so in creating your profile, so make sure it is close, no overlapping, and then no intersection. Okay, so always remember that. Otherwise, you will not be able to finish editing the profile of your wall. Okay, now what I'm going to do next is I select the modify here to terminate the tool. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select this area here. I'm going to mirror that to the other side. So instead of redoing the whole process to this side, I'm just going to select this side here using window selection from left to right here. And then after that, I'm going to use mirror draw axis. So I'm going to click this, and then I'm going to snap here, 1, and then I'm going to pick 2. There you go. Okay, so it's now mirrored to this side. Again, make sure it is close, no intersection, no overlapping. So we need to trim this line here. Okay, so I'm going to select trim extend to corner, and then I'm going to pick this line and then this line here. There you go. Okay, so that's now the shape of my profile here for the structural wall, which is what I call the step footings. Okay, then after that, I just need to select here, finish, edit mode. There you have it. Okay, so in 3D view, I'm going to open the 3D view here. So this is now how it looks like. There you go. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to modify this structural column to go to this portion here. So we are going to offset this to flash with this footing that we have here with this foundation. And automatically you will notice this isolated footing will follow. Okay, it will attach to the bottom of this structural column. Okay, so I'm going to select this structural column, hold control. Okay, and then from the properties, there's an option here to modify the base offset or to modify the top offset. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to modify the base offset here. This is the base part, this is the top part. So we're going to modify the base offset with a distance of 4 feet. Okay, so I'm going to change that to 4, enter, and there you go. So automatically the isolated footing will follow or will attach to the bottom of the column. You see, an attached structural column foundation or structural foundation will be moved to the bottom of the column, which is what we want. So I just need to select here OK. Oh, sorry, it's not like that. It should be minus. It should be minus 4 feet. Okay, sorry. So select, select, should be minus 4. Enter. Just select OK, and there you go. Okay, so it's not 4. So what's the height of this? Okay, so let me just, because what I want is I want to move this all the way here. So I'm going to measure just by using a line. Alright, so I can't use that. So I just go to the west. Okay. So I use the measure between two references. I'm going to click from here to here. Okay, so it's 12 feet there. So let me select this one, two. How many more? Okay, so how many more? So 2 feet more. Okay, so I'm going to select, hold control, and then instead of minus 4, so I'll just type minus 6. Oops, enter. Okay, there you go. So that's what I want. So in 3D view, this is now how it looks like. Okay, so that is now our step footing. So what we did is we modified the profile of our wall. Okay, so hopefully you learned something from this video, guys. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can put it on the comment section below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day. About how to add step footings. Okay, so this time around, we are going to add a step footing in-place family. So I'm going to teach you how to create an in-place family. Okay, so the family that so far we are using is loadable family and system family. Okay, so now the third type of family that we will be using is in-place family. All right, so that is the type of family that we will be doing to create a step footing family. Okay, so last time we created a step footing by editing the profile of the wall. So this time around, so let us use in-place family to create a step footing family. All right, so let's get started. So let's open up this. Okay, so after learning how to create a step footing family in-place family, so I'm going to teach you how to tag a family. Okay, so as you can see in this project, the Revit link here is already unloaded. That's why there's no Revit link model here. So just in case you want to load your Revit link model architecture, I'll just need to right click that and reload from. All right. So what I'm going to do here is on this side, which is our west. Okay, this side. See, you can check the view cube. You can see that this side is west. So we are going to create here step footing in place family. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to open the west elevation here. Okay, so just double click the west elevation. Okay, now in this side, I'm going to create here, and then after that, I'm going to mirror to the other side. Okay, so that is what we are going to do. All right, so to start with, so you just need to look for the build panel on the architecture tab. You can see the build panel, and then there's the component. You click the drop down, and then you will see here model in place. Okay, so just a bit of a background. What is in place family? An in place family creates a component, or it is a family that is unique to the project. So the component exists only in context of the current project, and it cannot be loaded into another project. Okay, you can just copy that in place family and paste it to another project, but you cannot use place a component tool there and then you load it. Okay, you cannot load that. Okay, you can't do that because in-place family is only unique on the project that you are working on. So if you really want to have that same family into your another project, so you need to copy paste it, but it's not a good practice. So it would be better if you want a family that you will be using on another project, you need to create a loadable family. All right, but we are not going to discuss that. Okay, so let's go to our discussion about loadable or in-place family. Sorry. So let's create an in-place family. Just click the drop-down arrow here and then select in-place family. You can also see that on the structure tab. If you go to the structure tab, you just look for the here model panel, and then there's the component. Okay, so in MEP, in Systems tab, you can see it here also on the model. All right, so on Architecture, you can see it here on the Build panel, that one. Okay, so if you're on Structure tab, you look for Model, that's the one. All right, so let's select Model in place. Okay, so let's select that one, and then we will be selecting here Structural Foundation. So that will going to be the category of the family that we are going to create. So Structural Foundation, so just double click that, and then specify here the name. So the name is, let's say this is my step footing. Okay, maybe you can put there in place. Okay. So I select here OK. So you will notice your environment will change to Family Editor. Okay, so as you can see, you now have these tools that you can use to create the 3D model. All right, so I'm going to select the extrusion here. So you click the extrusion, and then after that, you need to specify what is the work plane that you will be working with when you draw the profile of your extrusion. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this space here because onto this space, this is where I'm going to create the extrusion. All right, so using the pick a plane, so I'm going to select OK. So we need to select the face where we want to place the work plane. So I'm going to hover my pointer like that, and then as you can see, it highlights that face. So once you see that face highlight, just need to click that to place the work plane on that place. Okay, so in case you didn't see the face here, it didn't highlight the face, what you can do is you hover your pointer like that, and then press your tab. Do not hold the tab, so you just need to press it once. There you go, so it now highlights the face, and then you click. Okay, if you select here show, you will now see that the work plane is on that face now, right? So I'm now going to hide the work plane. Okay, then let us now create the profile. So on our draw panel, so I'm going to select the line tool. So let's say I'm going to pick here 1 foot, so maybe 1 foot, that's the one, and then any angle, so maybe 135, so I click. So when creating your extrusion, so make sure it's close, no intersection, and no overlapping. Okay, so that's the one. So I select here modify. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to select that, and then I'm going to copy. I'm going to select the base point here, and then I'm going to place it here. There you go, and then modify or escape a couple of times. And then after that, we are going to mirror this to the other side here. Okay, so to do that, let's select mirror draw axis. So let's click that one, and then you click the midpoint, click the first point, and then you click the second point here. There you go. And then you also need to specify what will going to be the thickness of your extrusion. So by default, it's 1 foot. So it's okay, even if you key in here the wrong extrusion, you can still modify that. So let's say, for example, I'm just going to accept the 1 foot here for the extrusion of our in-place family here. So I'm just going to select here OK. Check. And then finish model again. There you go. So in 3D view, so I select the 3D view. This is now how it looks like. So as you can see, I forgot to change the material. So I'm going to select again this. By the way, before I change the material, so let me just align our in-place family to the face of our foundation here. So to do that, I'm going to click this, hold the shift, and then hold the middle button to orbit my model, just like that. So I want to see this side here. So I'm going to use the align tool. So I select the align, I click this face, and then I select this face here. There you go. So it's now aligned on that face. So let me orbit again. Okay. So let me now select again this face here, and then let's select this face here. There you go. And then select modify or escape a couple of times. There you go. So it's now aligned. Okay. So beautiful. So the next thing that we're going to do, let's change the material of our in-place family. So to do that, let's go back to the family editor again. So to do that, select edit in-place family. So you will be going back again to family editor. So this time, so let's select that family. Let's change the material. Just click that small browser there, that ellipsis button. So click that. And then let's look for concrete. Let's just use this one. Concrete cast in-place gray. So let's select that. Select OK. And then finish. And there you have it. Okay. One last thing. So what we're going to do, we're going to union this in-place family to our foundation here, to our structural foundation. So to union or to combine, there is a join here on the modify tab. Join geometry, select that one. Okay, so select, and then select, oops, this one. and then modify. Oops, modify. There you go. Oh, what happened? There you go. There seems to be a problem with the video card of my laptop. You see, it's now joined. There you go. Right? And another thing that we are going to do is let us add some annotation. Okay, so let's add a spot elevation. So we are going to tag it. So let's go to the west elevation, and let us try to put here tag an annotation. So let me change this to, how about shaded view or realistic? Okay, so this is the realistic view. So let us add tag here, annotation. So let's go to the annotate tab. All right, so this time I'm going to go ahead and select spot elevation. So select spot elevation, click that one, and then you can specify here what type of spot elevation. So let's say I'm going to use crosshair project. Let's try this one. Click. All right, so let's pick here. Let's use leader line and shoulder. Okay, so let's click here. There you go. Beautiful. Right? Click on here. Click on here. Very nice. Click on here. There you go. Okay. So let's create another one here. Okay. There you go. There you go. Beautiful. All right. So basically, that's how you add tag, and that's how you create an in-place family for your step footing family, for example. All right. So hopefully, guys, you have learned something in this video. If you have comments, questions, or suggestions, you can put it on the comment section below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day. What's up, guys? Learning with Rich here. In this video, we are now going to talk about steel framing. Okay, so after learning the basics on how to create the foundation of your building, so this time around, we're going to talk about steel framing. So for the first topic of steel framing, we're going to add perimeter beams. Okay, so I'm going to teach you how to do that. So let's do this. So I'm going to open the level 2 of my project. So we are still working on the same project. So I'm going to open level 2, and then from the structure, so this is where we are going to select the beam tool. All right, so this is the one that we are going to select. So select that one, and then for the type here, so we will be using 1430. All right, so W1430. So I'm going to select this type. Okay, and then I'm going to make sure that the chain here is selected, and then the tag on placement is selected. Okay, and then we are now going to do this. Okay, so we are going to pick the first point here. So we're going to pick the intersection. I'm going to pick here 1, and then I'm going to pick here 2. Okay, and then I'm going to pick another point here 3. There you go. And then I select modify here to terminate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the detail level. So you will see what will happen here on the beam here on our structural framing. It will become a single line. So I'm going to change that, of course. So this is how I want it looks like. Now for this short distance for our beam, so I'm just going to use different size here. So again, I'm going to click this tool, or you can also type DM. That's the shortcut for that. So I select that. Let's change this. So I select 8 by 10. Click that. Okay, and then let's click from here to here. There you have it. Okay, and I'm going to escape once. Just escape once, so we can change the type here. So let's select 1430 again. All right, and then okay, let's click from here 1, 2, okay, and then up to 6, and then up to here, and then up to here. Okay, then I'm going to escape once, and then I'm going to click from here 1, and then I'm going to click here 2, and then I'm going to escape once. All right, and then let's change this. So every short segment, I'm just going to use 8 by 10. And then escape once, so we can change again 1430. All right, so let's click from here 1, 2, escape once. We're still using 1430. Click 1, 2. Okay, and probably I'm going down here. Click, 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 and then escape once. Let's change that to W8 by 10 again. So let's click from here to here. There you go, and then escape once. Let's change that again to 1430. Let's click from here to here, here. There you go. There you go. All right, so let's escape once, change that to 8 by 10. Click 1, 2, escape once, change that to 14 by 30. Same procedure until we finish the perimeter. There you go. And then I select here modify. Now the next thing that I'm going to do is, you see this circular portion here. So let's use a different type of beam here. So I select the beam again from the type selector. So let's use HSS square. So let's use, how about this one, HSS 6 by 6 by half. So I select this one. There you go. So let's use this arc, start and radius arc. So let's pick this 1, 2, and then the nearest 3. There you go. Okay, let's click from here, then arc. There you go. From here to here, from here to here. All right, so from here to here. There you go. Then escape a couple of times. All right. So let us create our beam and the inside part. You can actually use copy, so let's try to use copy. So let's select this, click, hold control, then click these beams, this framing, including the tags. So hold control, select the tags together with the frame. All right. So after selecting these elements, so let's copy it. Multiple constraint. Okay, so I'm now going to click here. Click. So we're going to fix the beam somewhere here. Okay, so I'm just going to copy this. Okay, click. There you go. And then let's select and modify. Now, this area that we have here, so we're going to fix this. So I'm going to select this frame. You see that blue node, so you just drag that, snap. There you go. Click, drag the blue node, snap at the midpoint. Okay, so click, blue node, drag, click, blue node, drag. Okay, this one, click, blue node, drag, click. All right, so just drag. There you go. There you go. All right, and then you can actually change this type here. So I'm going to select this two frame, including the. All right, so I'll just select this two frame, and then I'll just change the type. So this time, so let me use 12 by 20, 16 by 26. So I select this. There you go. So as you can see, automatically the tag updated as well. So what else? Okay, so we need to create our beam here manually. So I click this, right click, and then create similar. Okay, and then let's pick 1, 2, escape once, then click 1, 2, escape twice. All right. Okay, so we're now done with the horizontal beams. Okay, so let's check. All right, so for the vertical, so again, we're going to copy the beams. I'm going to select, including the tags, to click. All right, okay, all right, okay. Okay, so here as well, click, click. All right, so let's now copy. So select copy. So let's pick the grid here as our base point. So let's copy it there. Let's copy it here. Let's copy it here. Copy it here. And then, oh, here no need because we already have one there. We're just going to create it manually. Okay, so let's select this. Right click, create similar. Okay, so let's click from here to here. Okay, escape once. Change that to 8 by 10. Let's click from here to here. Okay, and then last one, 14 by 30. So let's click from here to here. There you go. Okay. All right. So let's go check it out in the 3D view. So I select the 3D view, and let's see. There you go. So we just created now the beams or structural framing, the perimeter beams on our project. Okay. As you can see, it's not that difficult. So you just need to click points, intersection, the midpoint, and then you can even modify it just in case you selected a wrong size. You just need to select that, and then just change from the type selector. Okay. So that's it. So that's how you add your perimeter beams. Okay. So again, in this 2D view, if you want to see it in if let's say you don't want to see that in a single line, just like this one, so you can always change the detail level to fine. Okay, and then you will now see your beams. Okay, all right. So once again, thank you for watching, guys. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can put it on the comment section below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. All right. So thank you for watching. Have a nice day. What's up, guys? Learning with Rich here. In this video, we are going to talk about beam systems. Okay, so we are still on steel framing topic. So last time we have learned how to add perimeter beams. Okay, so this time around I'm going to teach you how to add beam system. Okay, so let's move on to our level 2. So after we create the perimeter beams, so let's go to the level 2 and then let's create our beam system. Now from here, I'm going to zoom in this area, and then from the structure panel, so there's a tool here that is called beam system. So you can also type BS, so structural beam system. So it creates a layout that is used to control the number and spacing of a series of parallel beams. So beam system boundaries can adapt to changes in the design. So use constraints and the peak supports tool to define the boundary of a beam system. All right, so let's do this. So I'm going to select this tool. And then after that, so we have several options that we can select from here, including the beam type. So the beam type that I'll be using here is, let's say, I will be using 12 by 26. So you select this one. And then for the fixed distance, I'm going to select here maximum spacing. So when you select maximum spacing, the justification will now be disabled. So layout rule is maximum spacing. So let's say, for example, 5 feet. So 5, enter. Okay, and then for the tag styles, so maybe I'll select here. Okay, so let's try to use framing. Okay, for the tag style, so tag on placement is check, right? So that every time we place our beam system, automatically the tag will be placed. All right, so as you hover your pointer, as you can see, it shows you the preview of the beam that it will be creating. Okay, so the type of beam system that I want to create is horizontal. That's why I'm going to hover my pointer like this, and then I'm going to pick just like that. Okay, all right, so let us now place one here. There you go. So we just created 3 here, 1. So you just need to pick the sides. So you can change here the type of the tag that you are using. So currently, the tag style is framing. So if I click the drop down arrow, I select the systems here. So the tag will going to look like this. So I click this one. So that's now how it looks like. Okay. So let's say, for example, you want to change this type of tag. So what you can do is to terminate the tool, select modify or escape a couple of times, and then delete the tag. Just select it and delete. And then let's say you want this type of tag. So I select this. So I right click, create similar. And then let us now hover our pointer to the frame. So now I'm going to uncheck the leader line. I do not want to have a leader line, so I just uncheck that one. And then let's just click. All right, so you just need to click it manually, one by one. There you go. Okay, so let me select modify to terminate it. Let me go back again to structure, beam system, same beam type, same layout rule, same spacing. So for the tag style, I want framing type. Okay, so let's continue creating our beam system. Okay, so as you can see here, it's a bit difficult to place our beam system in this area, but later on we're going to solve that. So let us just continue to place our beam system to this area first. So I'm going to show you another way to create your beam system. Now for this small area that we have here, so I'm going to change the beam type. So let me use a W8 by 10. So I select that one, and then let's pick here. Okay, let's pick. There we go. And here. All right, so let's change this again to W12 by 26. So again, don't worry about placing the beam in this area. I'm going to show you how to place another way of beam system. Okay, so I place it here. On our next video, we are going to modify this area here on our shaft. So don't worry about placing the beams there. So I click here. Okay, click. Right click. There you go. Click. Click. All right. Okay, now for this area here, while the beam system is still activated, so as you can see here from the beam system, so the one that we are using is automatic beam system. Now, as you can see, we have another option here to create our beam system. So it's called sketch beam system. It opens the sketch editor for defining beam system boundaries. So I'm going to select this one, and then you will be going to the modify create beam system boundary contextual tab. So we are now going to create our boundary line. So we will be using here peak supports. So I'm going to select this one. All right, and then okay, the first point that you will be picking will going to be the direction of your beam. So in our case, it should be horizontal, so I'm going to pick this horizontal here. So this is the first side of my sketch boundary. So let's pick this one, let's pick this one. Okay, and then let's select modify. Now, in every aspect of creating your sketch, whether it be floor, whether it be beam system boundary, whether it be wall profile, so make sure the profile here or the magenta color here is closed, no intersection, no overlapping. So as you can see in this area, it's not closed. So that's why we are going to close it using trim extend to corner, or you can also type TR, and then just select the two sides that you want to trim extend to corner. Okay, so make sure every time you sketch, okay, make sure it's closed, no intersection, no overlapping, and then select modify here. And then make sure you are selecting the beam type that you want, the spacing that you want, and then the layout rule that you want, okay? And then let me select here, okay, finish, check, and there you have it, okay? Then select modify. Now, what we are going to do here to the other side, let us just mirror this framing here to here. Okay, so first let's select the beam system. You hover your pointer just like that. Okay, you hover your pointer until it highlights the beam system, then you click, and then hold control, you click the tags as well. So you click the tags while holding control so that it will be included to the selection. Now, from the modify tab, there is a tool here that is called mirror draw axis. It draws a temporary line to use as an axis for monitoring, or for mirroring, sorry. So I'm going to select mirror draw axis, or you can also type BM. So I select that one, and then after that, so I'm going to click somewhere here. So that's the center or the midpoint. So I'm going to click, and then I'm going to click another point here. There you go. Okay, so basically that's how you mirror an element. Okay, not only on the beam system but also in other element in Revit. Okay, and then let's select here modify, and there you have it. So we just placed our beam system in our second level. So if I go to the 3D view, this is now how it looks like. There you go. Right. So I'm going to type WT for window tiles. WT. All right, and there you go. Okay, so that's it. That's how you create, or that's how you add beam system. Okay, so in our next video, we're going to talk about on modifying our beam system. So once again, thank you for watching. Have a nice day. What's up, guys? Learning with Rich here again. So let's continue our discussion about steel framing. So our last topic is about adding beam systems. So this time around, I'm going to teach you how to edit or modify your beam system. Okay, so as you can see, obviously, if I'm going to zoom in here on our elevator shaft. So if you remember, we created last time our beam system, but there's a problem here. So our framing here or our beams are passing through our elevator shaft. So let's edit this one. Okay, so to start that, I'm going to open the level 2, just double click the level 2. And then as you can see, I now have here two views. So level 2 and 3D view. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the level 2. And then from the view tab, I'm going to use the tile views. You can also type WT. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click this, and then I'm going to add that to quick access toolbar so that I'll be able to select it here. So just in case I'm here on the structure, I just need to select that tool without going to the view tab and then selecting the tile view. So it's already here as your shortcut. So let's say I want also the tab views. So let me right click that and then add here. Okay. Now I'm going to select the tile views here. Zoom into this area. Okay. And then I'm going to combine the properties with the project browser here. I'll just need to drag this window, hold your left click, and then drag, put it on the project browser. Let's combine it like this. There you go. So we now have the project browser and then the properties for an additional space here. Right, so let's start. Let's go to the structure tab. From the structure panel, there's our beam. So I'm going to select the beam here. And then from the type properties, I'm going to select, let's say, 12 by 26. So let's select that one. And then after that, using the line tool, tag on placement, let's hover our pointer to this primary beam or primary framing. So as you can see, there's a temporary dimension that is appearing. So I'm going to move my pointer up, and then I'm going to type the distance that I want. So let's say 8 inches, for example. Enter. There you go. Now I connected to the primary frame, and then I'm going to connect to another primary frame here. I click. And then I select your modify. So there you go. So there's the frame that I just created, which is this one. Okay. So this is our primary frame, right? So if I'm going to select that, so it's called, oh, sorry, not that. So you hover your pointer, tab again, and then you just selected the frame. So I'm going to click that. I just want to check what type of structural framing is that. So that is primary. Okay. So you are creating primary framing if you connect it from column to column. But if you're going to create a structural framing from primary frame to primary frame, you will be creating a secondary frame. There you go, right? So remember, column to column, you will be creating primary frame. Primary frame to primary frame, you will be creating secondary frame, okay? Or secondary beam or secondary framing. Right, so let's do this as well to the other side. So I'll just select this one, right click, and create similar. Or I can also select that, type CS. There you go. So that is also create similar. So again, I hover my pointer here and then move my pointer down 8 inches, enter, okay? And then you click. There you go. So we just created now the other side here, okay? All right, so what we're going to do here to this framing that is passing through our elevator shaft, we're going to split that. So that's the tool that we will be using, split element. Okay, so let me just change this visual style to wireframe. Oh, I don't like the wireframe. Probably I'll just use shaded view. And then let's select this one. So this is actually a shaft opening. I'm selecting the shaft opening. So I press tab and then I click. So this is a wall, right? See, the category is wall. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the visibility graphic override. And then I'm going to hover my pointer all the way down, slide it. So from the walls here, so there's an option here, transparent. So I'll just change this, override. So let me make it, oh, how about 80? And then OK, and then OK. There you go. So I'm now able to see the frame here. Okay. So I'm going to zoom in here. So let's use the split. So before you use the split tool, since this was created as a beam system, for you to be able to edit your beam system, you need to unpin it. Okay. Because as you can see, if you click this frame here, so it's pinned, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select these four beams here, holding your control, and then after that you can just select your unpin, or you can type UP. There you go. So you are now ready to edit the beam system. So to do that, like what I've said, I'm going to split that. So from the Modify tab, there's my Split Element tool. You can also type SL. So when you click this, check out the options bar here. So it says here delete inner segment. So meaning to say if you click 2 point, the inner segment will gonna be deleted. Okay, so you have an option here if you want to delete that or not delete it. Alright, so I'm going to delete that. So I'm going to pick 2 points. I'm going to hover my pointer. Look what will happen here. It will update. So I'm going to click this area, 1. Then I'm going to click another point here, 2. There you go. So it's now deleted here. Okay, so I'm going to select modify here. Now I want this to be clean, so I'm going to click this, and then you see that blue node, so just drag that and then align that to that line there, so that it's clean. So let's check out the other side. So same with this. So click, drag the blue node, align it here. There you go, so that it's clean. Alright, so my split tool is also here. So I just select split element. Let's split, click, and then you click again. We're going to edit that later. So click that, then you click again. There you go. Let's click this. Let's click this. There you go. Alright. So let's edit this one. So let's click that, drag. Okay, so click that, drag. There you go. Okay, so this one is already fixed. Alright, so here, click that, drag, click, drag. Alright, so click, drag. Alright. So there you go. Alright, so let us tidy up this tag here. So let's click this. You can use the arrow on your keyboard and then just move it down. You can use the window selection and then just drag, move down. Okay. There you have it. Okay, so basically that's the basic way of editing your beam tool or your beam system using your split element tool. Alright. So hopefully you learned something from that video. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can put it on the comment section below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Once again, thank you for watching, guys. Have a nice day. What's up, guys? Learning with Rich here. In this video, we are going to learn how to copy and paste and offset our beam. Okay, so last video we learned how to modify our beam system. So this time, let's try to copy and paste our beams up to the roof. And then after that, I'm going to teach you how to offset your framing or beams to accommodate, let's say in this project, it will going to use a bar joist for the roof. So I'm going to teach you how to offset down our beam to accommodate the bar joist sit. Okay, so let's learn first how to copy and paste. Very simple. So what I'm going to do is on level 2, I go to level 2. Okay, so from here, I'm going to use a crossing selection. So when I say crossing selection, it's going to be selection from right going to the left. Okay, or you can also use window selection as long as all the elements is inside the box. Okay, the difference between the window selection and then the crossing selection is that for you to be able to select your element using the window selection, it should be completely inside the box, just like this one. Window selection is from left to right. Okay, so as you can see, in order for me to select this beam, for example here, the beam here, I need to completely place that inside my box. See? Right? So it should be completely inside the box. That is your window selection. But if it is crossing selection, as long as it touches the box, automatically it will select the object. Right? So let me repeat again. So this is window selection. You see, it cannot select. So it needs to be inside the box completely. So that's the window selection. Now crossing selection is like this. So you only need to touch the object and then it will going to be selected. Alright, so it's up to you. But in my case, I'm going to use crossing selection. So I select all. And then we use filter here to refine the element category selected in our view. So I'm going to select filter. So these are the categories that were selected. So we are not going to select all of this. So I'm going to select your check none. So I just need here my structural beam systems and then the primary framing and secondary framing. Okay, so these 3 only. And then after that, I'll just select your OK. Alright, so there you go. So after you select the objects that you want to copy, so let's go now here on our clipboard. So there's the copy the clipboard. So select that one, click, and then you will notice our paste here will become visible now. So it's now activated. So click the drop down arrow, and then you can see here several options. So we are going to assign to selected levels. So let's select that one. And then as you can see, you are now able to select here the level where you want to place your beams. So I'm going to select, let's say 3, 4, hold control, 3, 4, 5, and then roof. Okay, so before I do this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the 3D view so that I'll be able to see it copied up to the roof. So let me go to the modify. Don't worry, it's already been copied. So we are now just going to paste it. So assign align to selected levels, 3, hold control, 4, 5, and then roof, and then select your OK. Alright. Okay, so it's now processing the pasting of the framing. Alright, there you go. So that's how you copy. So let me just quickly change the visual style here to shaded. Alright. So there you go. So that's how you copy your copy and paste your frames. So you can also use that in other elements, not only on your framing or beam. You can use the copy paste tool in other elements as well. There you go. Now the next thing that we are going to do is I'm going to select here the roof. Okay, so here's my roof. So since this building, we're going to use a bar joist for our roof. So we are going to set our beams down. So let's say 2.5 inches to accommodate the bar joist sit. Okay, so to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove first some of the filler beams here because they are just going to wind up as being a joist. You see these frames here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click this. and then right click. I'm going to select all instances and then visible in view. Okay, and then after that, I'm just going to delete that. I don't need these filler beams. There you go. Okay, and it just so happened that the 4 beams here was also deleted, which is what I do not want to happen. But anyway, I'm just going to use crossing selection to select these 4 beams, and then let's use our mirror draw axis. Just click that one because we're going to copy that to the other side again. There you go, and then modify. So in 3D view, this is now how it looks like. Okay. All right. So no more filler beams at the top. So what we are going to do now is we're going to offset our beams, our horizontal beam. Okay. Let's say 2.5. Okay. So to do that, let's select one horizontal and then hold control. Let's use that one. I think I can also use crossing. No, don't use crossing. So just use manual. Click, hold control, select all the horizontal elements. Okay, so make sure you select all of that. Select all. Okay, select all the horizontal elements. Then I think I'm going to include this one as well. This one. Hold control, click, hold control. Let's click this one and then click this one. All right, so after selecting all the beams that we want to offset down by, let's say, 2.5 or whatever distance that you want to accommodate your bar joist or the roof, so after you select it, so you can now go to the properties, and then you see there's now here the start level offset and then end level offset. So this is what we need. So from the start level offset, so you can type here 2.5 and then the inches symbol, and then you click here again on the end level offset. Automatically, it's now converted to fraction, so 2.5 inches. So here, 2.5, then the inches. Okay, enter. All right, and then after that, you can select apply, or it's now auto applying itself. And let's wait. There you go. So this is just natural. So element will be detached from its associated plane, so that's okay. So you just need to select. All right. Okay. Okay. Then select modify, and then let's check this out in the 3D view. 3D view, this one, and let's zoom in. Oh, sorry. There's something wrong. It should be minus. Okay. Okay. So it should be minus because I key in positive. All right, it's alright. So let's do this again. Oh, so new. Okay. Such a pain. Sorry about that. So it should be minus 2.5. Okay. Just click again. Don't worry. Okay. Right, horizontal. Okay, click. All right, so there's 2 here. This one. What else? Okay, so should be minus 2.5. Enter. Oops. Should be minus 2.5 inches. Enter. So minus 2.5 inches. Enter. Okay, do not type 2.5 minus 2.5 only, because if you do that, the Revit will read it as feet. Okay, so it will becomes minus 2.5 feet. So you need to include the inches symbol. Okay, so select apply. And there you go. Select modify. Let's go to the 3D view. And there you go. So there's the offset of 2.5. Okay. All right. Okay. So basically, that's how you use the copy and paste feature when you want to modify or duplicate your elements, and as well as offsetting or modifying the beam elevation. So hopefully you learned something from this video. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day. What's up guys, Learning with Rich here. In this video, we are going to learn how to add joist system. Okay, so last video, we learned how to alter the beam elevations or the offset of our beam. So this time, let's learn how to add a joist system. But before that, let me just quickly show you how to tag our floor plan here. So let's say I want to tag all the framing. So I just need to go to the annotate, tag panel, and then you can see here tag all. Okay, so you click the tag all net tag, so you click that, and then after that, you move the slider down, and then you look for structural framing tags. Okay, so you just need to check that, and then just select OK. And very quickly, you'll be able to tag it. All right, so there's the tag of now. There's the tag of our framing. Now let's create our joist system. Let's add our joist system. Before that, you need to learn how to load it. So I'm going to select the Insert tab, Load Family, and then after that, you just need to go to your libraries. So this is the location. So I have saved the Autodesk folder on my D drive, but usually your IT will save this inside the C drive. Okay, so in my case, so it's on the D drive, Autodesk. Okay, so you go to your libraries. Okay, and then you look for English, and then after that, you look for structural framing, steel folder, and then let's look for our bar joist. This one. So let's say I'll use MK series bar joist angle web. So just select that one, and then select your OK. And then you just need to select here the type. So let's say I'll be selecting the smallest one, the 8K one, and then let's say I'm going to hold the control and then select 14KT. There you go, and then just select your OK. So now that our bar joist is loaded, so let us now go to the structure. And the same way we create our beam system, so we just need to select the beam system as well, or you can also type BS. So select that one. And then for the beam type, so let me use here the 14K3. Okay, the big one. So let's select that. And then for the layout rule, I'll be using a maximum spacing of 5 feet. Now I'm going to snap it on the 3D view, or on the 3D, and then tag on placement, so that as I place the joist system, automatically it will be tagged. All right. So make sure that one is turned on. Okay. So beam type, layout rule, 5 feet, 3D. What else? Okay. So for this one, for the elevation from level, remember on our last video we adjust it by 2.5, right? So for this one, I'm just going to type 2.5 inches. Okay. So I'm just going to type there 2.5 inches. All right. Oops. Sorry. So 2.5 inches. There you go. All right, and then let us now place it. So I'm going to hover my pointer here. So there you go. So you click. So we just need to click this, just like we created our beam system last time. So this time we are placing a joist. Okay. So later on we're going to create a sketch here to create our beam system. Let's click that. Let's click this one. Okay, my laptop is really slow. Okay, now for this small part here, I'm going to change the beam type to 8K1. Okay, let's place that. Click, click, and then here as well, and here as well. There you go. And then let's use again the 14K3 here, here. Okay. Okay, so let me place it here as well, here as well. Wow, it's really slow. Here as well. Okay, and then I'll change this to 8K1 and place here. Okay, now for this area, so let me change the beam type to 14K3, but this time I'll be using a sketch beam system. So select this, and then let's use again, if you remember, we use the pick supports, and then the direction is vertical, so I'm going to pick vertical first, this one, click that in this order, okay, click. And then as you can see here, it's not close, so we're going to use clean extend to corner. You can also type TR, click, click. Okay, so make sure the corners are clean. Okay, so it's clean, all right, and then let's select check here. There you go. Now let's say I do not want this type of tag. So what I'm going to do is, if I want the same type, just like here, so I'm going to just delete these tags here. Delete that. Let's use create similar. So just click that and then type CS, Charlie Shera. CS stands for create similar. And then let's pick this. There you go. And then let's just align it and then pick. There you go. Okay, and then we just need to mirror this to this side here. So I'll be selecting the joy system or the beam system as well as the tag. Click, hold control to select that. And then mirror draw axis. Speak here. 1, 2. There you have it. There you go. So let's go check it out in the 3D view. So I select the full 3D view. There you go. And then let's zoom in. There you go. So let's click that one. Okay. As you can see, there is our minus 2.5. So it's 2.5 there. Okay. Let's check out the one here in the area of our shaft. Okay. Let's zoom in. Okay. Now for this area, it's not flash. So it went down minus 2.5. All right. So let's edit this one. So I'm going to select this. Hold control. Click. Oops. Sorry. So select. Hold control. Select. And then select. All right. And then instead of minus 2.5, so just make it 0. There you go. So it's now nicely flashed there. So let's do it as well to the other side. So let's select, hold control, click, click. All right, this one is 0, enter. There you go. Okay, there you have it. Okay, so basically that's how you add your joy system. Okay, so on our next video, I'm going to show you how to tag our frames. Okay, so hopefully you learned something from this video, guys. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can put it on the comment section below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you for watching, guys. Have a nice day.